Good morning, everybody. It's your host, Catfish, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial video on how to skin a catfish and fillet them, get the meat off of them, and everything like that. So bear with me. I'm going to do my best. I know that the community guidelines won't allow me to show a lot of this stuff, so my editors might have to get a lot of that stuff and filter it out, but I'll do my best to explain it to you guys prior to doing it. And well, let's get it. So first things first, obviously, you're going to want to acquire yourself a catfish here. We got one. I ran some jugs and we went and got us one. He's been sitting in the cooler, so it's morning time. Now we're going to get him filleted up. You're going to want a really sharp knife to do this. I've got one of my favorite butchering knives here that I use, and I got my little handheld fillet stone or sharpening stone here, so I'm going to get this guy nice and spruced up. Sharp enough to shave your face. Alright, so where we're first going to start is up here at the head area. If you feel right here, and you can kind of see it protruding a little bit at my finger right here, they got this triangular shaped bone. And we're not going to cut the stomach. We're going to cut right behind that little triangular shaped bone right here. And you can see it now that my blade's underneath it. And so that's that. Then we're going to come up around the head area here. And you don't really want to be going too deep. You really just want to be breaking the skin, making a nice line across the skin. You'll feel the bone though as you're going across the head area, especially. They got that big thick skull back here, so you'll feel that for sure. Then we're going to come back to the other side and do the exact same thing. We're going to find that little triangular piece there. You can see it poking out, and we're going to cut right underneath it, just like so. And then we're going to drag her back to the head area. And when you can see that fleshiness underneath and the white lip of the skin, that's when you know that you've cut just deep enough for our next step. And our next step is going to be, you're going to want a pair of frog skinners. That's what these are called. That's the easiest things to use. But you can also use a pair of needle nose pliers or some flat nose pliers that you can really get a grip of this skin on. And that's our next move, is we're going to be peeling this skin off. Now there's a reason a lot of people they've got their fish and they'll clean it out that way, and they'll use that stomach meat and everything like that. I don't like the stomach meat. I think it tastes a little dirtier, so I don't do all that, because I'm going to actually avoid the stomach meat, and I'm going to be cutting around this rib here and then all the way back and all the way down that tail, because that's where all that thick, good, healthier meat is, and that's what I'm looking for. So at this point, we do want to make a nice little incision around this dorsal fin here, and keep it really close to that dorsal fin, because me personally, I think it gets in the way of pulling the skin off, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. So I'll go ahead and I just remove it, and be careful when you do this. I do suggest using a pair of gloves, because these guys can get pretty slippery and you don't want to cut yourself now. I'll just go ahead and get rid of this dorsal fin here without trying to destroy the meat too much, as you can see. And got him out of there. Alright. So the best way that I have found, method-wise, to pull this skin is to go from the middle at an angle. So that's what you're about to see next. Now, you may see it, you may not, depending on if we're going to have to edit some of this out, like cutting the dorsal fin off and stuff like that. You can see the afterwards. You're probably not going to be able to see the act of me doing it, just saying. So now that we've got a nice little grip area to pull this skin, we're going to start right here with a nice grip on it, and we're going to pull it downward. Make sure this is where the gloves come in handy, because you're going to want a grip on this fish, that's for sure. Some people even nail it into a tree, that way it's stationary for them. I've done it myself, and it's actually not a bad call on it, especially on those bigger fish. Alright, so now you guys can see the fully skinned catfish, and I got some of the membrane off already, but on this side you can see the membrane pretty heavy, and I showed you guys in that fillet video how to just basically fillet that right off, and then you got your good meat. So same process there, you'll have that at time. That's a workout, y'all. Tell you that. What you do is you grab your fishing buddy to help you catch them, and you tell him he don't get to eat none of it unless he helps you clean them. Them's the rules. So I'm going along this back, and you can kind of see a nice little line here. I'm going along the back, and I'm going to divide this into 2 fillets. Go right down the spine, all the way. Find right about here in this midsection. Take your blade. Feel that little bit of spine there. So you're going to go on the left side of it to start your left side fillet. Nice and down. You can see the meat starting to separate off that bone. You'll feel that bone while you're working in there. What you're trying to do is actually work around the bone. Get down in there. It's the ribs that you might have the most issue on. Sorry, a bird distracted me. Just right along those ribs, right along that spine, right off that bone. And avoid that stomach at all costs. You don't want to open up that stomach and spoil your meat with the contents inside. Trust me, you won't like the smell either. If you can avoid having to gut these things, it makes it for a whole lot friendlier of a process. Makes your meat taste better too. And if you notice, there's not too much blood coming out of this fillet right here. You can see it in the tail a little bit, but you don't see it in the meat too much. And that's because I let this guy die. Most of y'all want to do it all fresh and everything, and I get that, but it's kind of inhumane to keep these suckers alive while you cut into them like that. And they'll live through the whole process, so I say take a hammer and bop them on the head a couple of times. And easiest way to do it, honestly, is while you're fishing for them, keep a cooler full of ice and just throw them on top of ice. They'll just hypothermia out. By the time you're ready to go home and cook them, they're ready to go. So right here, when I get into this back, you'll start noticing this meat gets thicker and the ribs start to curve. So here you'll start seeing my blade angle in some funky patterns. And the reason why is because I'm cutting over these ribs right now and I'm trying to get around them to get all that meat off of them. Here's where you got to be careful, because right here is the stomach. So I'm right about here on my cut right now for that fillet, and right here's that stomach. So you got to watch that when you get right about here and start coming up that rib and around that stomach. Now don't forget about these neck muscles up here, because I'm telling you right now, catfish got some thick neck muscles to open up and snap that jaw the way that they do. And because of that, it makes for some really good meat. Now you're trying to go down to the bone to where you feel it, but not through the bone. You do not want to go through the bone. The last thing you want to do is fry up some good catfish after a long, hard day working for them like this. Bite down into your first piece and you got to pick a bone out of your mouth. That sucks. But here we go, y'all. Here's the finished product. One big, delicious catfish fillet. Look at the thickness on that boy. That guy right there turned out to be an 8-pounder. He wasn't bad. Definitely a good eater. I'd like to catch a bigger one for you guys though, that's for sure. But there we go. I appreciate you guys. I hope the video was informative enough for you guys, and I mean, that's about all there is to it. Afterwards, I'll put it in a Ziploc bag, about like this. Now I'm not going to do it yet because I like to go rinse it under cold water and wash all the dirtiness and grime off of it. But another thing I do afterwards is I'm going to put it in this Ziploc bag and I'm going to fill it up a little bit with water, about halfway with water. I'm going to sprinkle salt in it and I'm going to zip it up and throw it in the refrigerator. And what that's going to do is that saltwater solution, it's going to preserve the meat a whole lot better, but it's also going to draw all that stuff that's sitting inside the meat that you can't wash off the surface. It's going to draw all that out of it, so that way it cleans the meat a lot better. And it's going to taste a lot better. It's going to taste cleaner. It's not going to taste as gamey or fishy, and it'd be more like store-bought fish at that point than you know, locally caught in your backyard fish. But there it is, guys. There's the finished product. I'm Captain Catfish, aka Squilly Willy. Whoever you're following, whoever you're watching, regardless, I appreciate you guys. Leave a like, leave a follow, and let me know what else you want me to show you guys. I am what they call a jack of all trades. So again, thank you guys for joining in today. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully we got enough footage for you guys to watch a full episode. Hopefully the editor doesn't have to edit out too much of it, and you guys still get the gist of what's going on here. And like I said, let me know in the comments section if there's anything else you guys want me to show you, and I'll try to do my best to be as informative and as thorough about it as possible. I'm going to finish up this catfish here on the other side, and I'll get back to y'all later. Deuces. Alright, so here's the finished product here. And I got it in the Ziploc bag. I cleaned it up. I put it in the water solution with salt in there. I would suggest for the best results, probably let it sit in here for a good 2 to 4 hours. Make sure you keep it refrigerated, obviously, but it's ready to go and good to eat. I mean, it's good to eat straight off the bone if you like it like that. If you're in a dire situation, you just got to, but you know, I'm a little picky. I'm a little Yankee when it comes to my flavors and stuff like that, and I want it to taste as clean as possible, so there you go. Appreciate it. I am not actually saying words right now. I am doing this as an ad-lib to lip over for any extra filler footage that we may need later on. So Elisha, if you're watching this, go ahead and screw yourself, but enjoy the editing.